Weather today in the greater Cincinnati area.
A guy that has a drinking song for Cincinnati. His name is Clint. And
Cincinnati skyline, Fountain Square and chilly. I'm packing up my jacket 'cause it's gonna be chilly. The genius of water, it's in Fountain Square. I'm packing up my bags 'cause I am there. Cincinnati is the place to be. Oh, Cincinnati, it's where I wanna be. Cincinnati, it's the place to be. Oh, Cincinnati, it's where I wanna be. Driving down the race with me, pumping right the river with the Bengals in for place. Now feeling like a winner, like my skyline hot and my grader's cold. Been drinking at O'Malley since 8 years old. Cincinnati Vegas, this can't be beat. When I'm in the Stadium, stomping my feet. Greater Macon Ballpark is where I go. Get my baseball fix and my hoodoo pole. Playing blackjack with a 20 in my pocket. With a filled belly from the Finley Market. I go to River Bend for a kick-ass show. With my middle finger up to that black and gold. Cincinnati skyline, Fountain Square and chilly. I'm packing up my jacket 'cause it's gonna be chilly. The genius of water, it's in Fountain Square. I'm packing up my bags 'cause I am there. Cincinnati is the place to be. Oh, Cincinnati, it's where I wanna be. Cincinnati is the place to be. Oh, Cincinnati, it's where I wanna be. If you wanna have a good Oktoberfest, look no further, we're saving the best. Nothing gets me prouder than the Icky Shuffle or the taste of Belgium and the Belgian waffle. Paul Brown, Mike Brown, win a playoff game gives a real reason to scream. Hooray! Newport, Covington, Yateman's Cove, Derby Camp is still my favorite show. Opening day makes my hair stand up. Down Mad Tree in my cup. Travel the world, but I love this city. Never really seen one quite this pretty. Come to the end, all I got to say is put your bottoms up for hooray! Cincinnati skyline, Fountain Square and chilly. I'm packing up my jacket 'cause it's gonna be chilly. The genius of water, it's in Fountain Square. I'm packing up my bags 'cause I am there. Cincinnati skyline, Fountain Square and chilly. I'm packing up my jacket 'cause it's gonna be chilly. The genius of water, it's in Fountain Square. I'm packing up my bags 'cause I am there. Cincinnati, Cincinnati. Cincinnati.
Welcome to the StayHot podcast. I am your host, Patrick Kelch, and alongside me tonight is Clint, the Drunken Mallard. I've always said that I try to have interesting people on my show, and I said after reading this guy's story and I can't remember the guy's name, Michael Hall, I think led me to Clint, that this probably might be the most interesting person I've ever met. And, you know, he's only 33 years old, and to live the life he's lived at 33, and here I am 48, he's kind of making me feel bad about myself. So he might inspire me a little bit to get a little bit more active and do a little bit more with my life here in the next few years. But, you know, if you hear that intro song there, and that song, you don't want to play that song every single day of your life from now on. It is the catchiest tune that I think I've heard. But Clint, thanks for joining us tonight. I appreciate you. But, you know, it is Easter Sunday. I know you have a family, but I do appreciate you taking a few minutes out of your time to join me here tonight.
Oh, heck yeah. You are too nice. Too nice of words. But yeah, that was cool. You hit me up. I was just in Virginia Beach for a dart tournament, and you hit me up on the way back, and, you know, it was awesome. It was awesome to see. I was like, heck yeah, I'm going to be on your podcast. What are you, nuts? Of course.
Well, and honestly, you know, and that's the one reason why I kind of, you know, like doing this. Like some guy I never even met before, knew before, drops your name. And, you know, here I am on here bad mouthing the Reds for inconsistency, getting my hopes up, and then still can't beat the Pirates in a 3-game series, or on here talking about Kentucky and, you know, losing players to the portal, having another subpar year, or mad at Joe Burrow because he's hurt again with another crazy injury. And then some guy drops your name, and I'm like, you know what, this is why I do this, you know, meet people like this. And, but, you know, it just, I can't thank you enough for doing this. And, but start out by telling us why the Drunken Mallard. You know, why have you chosen that as your handle? You know, just tell us a little bit about the Drunken Mallard.
It's weird. Yeah. So we're in the Drunken Mallard as we speak. So my wife and I, we bought a house in Sharonville 4 years ago, a little over 4 years ago. And when we were looking for houses, we went into a lot of houses, and my wife and I made a pact. I was like, all right, I get the whole downstairs. We have to find a house with a basement, and it's got to be a big enough basement to do whatever I want. I can do anything in the downstairs. You have the whole upstairs to do whatever you want. The kitchen, all the bedrooms, the family room, the bathroom, whatever you want. And she was like, heck yeah. So I was like, let's freaking go. So then we found this house, and I always wanted to open up an Irish pub. I've been in the food industry my entire life. And then the more I get older, I'm like, you know what? I don't know if I like people that enough to have my own pub in the public. That dream is still out there, but it's diminished. So we bought the house, and I built my own Irish pub here in the basement. And I thought the name, the Drunken Mallard, sounded kind of cool. Growing up, my dad always liked mallards for whatever reason. So I called it the Drunken Mallard, and it kind of, it was like, that's a cool name. So I made a website for the bar, like for this pub. So any of my neighbors or like close friends that have been inside this pub, we had our own website for like pictures and whatnot for the bar. And then all of a sudden, it was like my second year with the Cincinnati Reds. I looked at Gapper after one of the games, and I was like, dude, I'm going to step foot inside every Irish pub in America. And I don't know if I'm going to get paid for it, but I'm going to freaking do this. And he looked at me and he was just like, whatever, dude. And so
just hold on here a second. I'm going to try to.
That's my butt.
So I was trying to add your. Okay, there's your website here. This is at thedrunkenmallard.com. If you want to go check it out, this is what Clint's talking about right now. So go ahead.
That's thedrunkenmallard.com as it stands. Yeah. So it started off as a website for the Mallard downstairs here in the basement. And then as I started going to these Irish pubs, I started off with all the pubs here in Cincinnati, and then I just kind of kept growing and growing. And now I've been to over 150 east of the Mississippi in the last year and a half, 2 years. New Orleans, Chicago, the Carolinas, New York City, Pennsylvania, Tennessee, Virginia. So as I started documenting these pubs, every time I would go into a pub, I would take pictures of it, write an article about the place. And then that's where the website kind of just turned into my like travels of going to all these Irish pubs. So now it's just the Drunken Mallard. That's how the website kind of blossomed. So now you go on my website now, you don't see anything about my bar downstairs, right, except for that picture right there.
I just want to make sure, and I'll keep that to where we can always go back to it. But just so people know that, my background and where he's sitting, that is the basement of his house. I know he said that, but I'm not 100% sure that sinks in. Like, he has turned his basement into an Irish pub, as if that's not the coolest thing in the world.
We got a golden tea machine, steel tip dartboard. It's good stuff. High top tables.
I will say this. No, not necessarily steel tip darts, but darts is a big thing in our area here. Of course, I mentioned, my nephew, Tristan Barrett. You said you kind of familiar with him. I saw y'all were familiar friends on Facebook and stuff, but, they're more soft tip here, but it's just that.
Yeah, I think Donkey. I think it's Darts of Northern Kentucky. I never played in it. I've never played in it, but I know a lot of people that do.
Right.
I play in the stick league. I throw every Thursdays over at Hap's Irish Pub. And we've this is our 4th season, and we're undefeated. It's good stuff.
Are you considered A? Are you an A darter?
No. So my team, we're C+, and the first season that I joined with Haps, Haps has always been a good team, but we're humbly, like, we're kicking everyone's butts, and a lot of people are getting kind of annoyed with it. And they're like, dude, you need to go to the A League. But my team wants to stay in the C+ league. Like, the A leagues, they play best of 3 every single match, and a lot of times, like, it might stay they might be playing until like 1 o'clock in the morning, and we all have jobs and stuff. Right. And my teammates have kids, and I'm not going to go to a team that I don't know anybody and play
Right.
with people I don't know. I love these guys, so I'm always going to be on Haps Irish Pub's dart team
Right.
no matter what. So if they want to go to A, I'm totally down for A. But if we're in C plus, like, whatever.
All right,
It is what it
but
is.
and just so the people know, because we do have several people on here live, just so they know, I did talk with you on Thursday after your dart, so a lot of the stuff I'm talking to you about that we've already discussed, but like the Drunken Mallard isn't the only business, so to speak, that you own. Tell us about the other business that you own or that you're affiliated with.
Yeah. Yeah. It was like a couple of weeks ago, someone asked me what I do for a living. And I either haven't been asked that in a while, or it just kind of stopped me in my tracks because I was like, I don't know. When I look at the last 10 years of my life, I've opened up 2 newspapers. I called it Queen City Sports News. Right before I moved to Cincinnati, I was in Charlotte, North Carolina. Opened up a sports newspaper, and I called it Queen City Sports because Charlotte, North Carolina, is a queen city. So I talked about the Panthers and the Hornets and the Charlotte Knights. And then when I moved here to Cincinnati, I was waiting tables at the Yard House downtown at the Banks. That was like my first gig here. And after a couple of months of that and saving up some money, I opened up the newspaper again, called it Queen City Sports News because Cincinnati's a queen city. And then I did the same thing. I talked about the Bengals and the Reds and Bearcats, dropped it off in over 75 locations. It was a free newspaper every single week. And I would drop it off at like barbershops, auto repair centers, anywhere with a waiting room. I put it in, and then I would make money off of like the advertisement space. So that was cool. And then opened up a window washing business. I've been in the food industry my whole life, and I was managing restaurants like right before I became Mr. Red. And when I was a GM at some of these places, I would see these window washing companies come in, and I would look at the invoices. Like I didn't hire these people, like the higher ups of the companies would hire these people, and they're charging like $300-$400 to wash windows, and they would be in and out in like a half an hour. And I was like, holy shit, like
Yeah.
$400 and like a monkey can wash a window. And so I was like, I'm gonna freaking do that. I'm just gonna go in, and I know what everyone's charging, so I'm just gonna undercut everybody and just take all this business. And so I named it Paddy's Squeegee, just off of Paddy's Irish whiskey. I'm an Irish pub guy, and I love Paddy's whiskey. So it's like Paddy's Squeegee. It's such a random, weird name. Why not just open up, Paddy's Squeegee? So I opened up a window washing company, and I don't really do that too much anymore. I could pick up gigs if I want to, like the business is still there. But right now, I kind of just do Haps Irish Pub's windows every once in a while. Maybe not for a Guinness or two.
Right.
That's
Well, it doesn't necessarily have to be paid. It could be other. You can work out other
a
means of
little
payment.
barter.
Yeah, a
But
little
no, I
barter.
don't get paid in Guinness. That is definitely not happening.
Um,
Yeah, and then now I do the Drunken Mallard. I kind of consider this a business now. You know, I I made it a goal to step foot inside every Irish pub in America. According to Google, there are over 4,000 of them. I don't think there are that many. Obviously, there are a lot of Irish pubs. Like, don't get me wrong. There's everywhere you go, there's an Irish pub. That's what makes Irish pubs so freaking sweet. But like, if you Google Irish pub, like Applebee's sometimes will come up, or like if you Google bookstores near me, like Walmart will come up. And like, yeah, Walmart sells books, but Walmart is obviously not a bookstore,
right.
So I think it's an inflated number. So we're
So
gonna
how
find
many
out.
have you been to? 400? Is that, did I read
Um,
that?
Unofficially, a little over 150 in the
Okay.
last. I wish I started this earlier because like after college, I've probably been to well over 300, 400, but it's never late. Better late than never,
Right.
So
Well,
that's
you're still young.
still young. Yeah, we're in our 30s, so we're good. Yeah, I got plenty
And
of decades, and so long as my liver keeps holding up, and we're good.
right, absolutely. And I mean, 33 years old, you still got plenty of time. But who can say at 33 that Drunken Mallard, you got Patty Squeegee, you've written and performed a song, Cincinnati's drinking song. I mean, you've done all this, but who can also say that they have their own baseball card?
Dude, let's go. Yeah, I just saw that individual card for the first time yesterday. I remember taking that. That was in Bristol on a media shoot, like maybe a month or two before the Speedway Classic. I remember posing for that, and that's definitely my signature. Never seen that card before though. That's pretty cool. Apparently, I was talking to a buddy of mine who showed it to me yesterday, and someone's asking $125 for that, which is that's nuts. Like
Well,
I'm the dude I'm literally that guy. And I
right.
would love to have that card here in the Mallard, but I'm not spending $125 on
It was
God bless whoever does. If someone actually pays that, like you're the best person on the planet, but I'm not. That's ridiculous.
well, and it's crazy because I can't tell you, I didn't see a price, but that's where I saw it on one of these sites that were like that deals with autograph cards, and it's usually a site that
Yeah.
says, "Hey, I've got this football autograph. Can you all help me with the autograph? Whose autograph is this?" And a lot of people will weigh in or say, "Well, hey, I've got that same autograph. It's so and so." But this card popped up, and and I was like, "Well, that's awful crazy that that's popping up now." I
Yeah.
wouldn't have paid attention to this card a week and a half ago. I would have said, "Oh, Mr.
Yeah.
Red, that's cool.
Right.
Cincinnati Reds, that's cool," and went on.
Hmm.
And then when I saw it, I thought, "Well, I'm going to send this to see it." But yeah, $125 for
Tops.
that. I mean,
The most Tops did like a big mascot card. It was like the first time it's not the first time they've done mascot cards, but it was like the first like um, I don't know, like edition or selection or whatever you want to call it,
that they
collection.
added the mascots to the set or whatever.
Yeah, and it was actually really cool. There were some cards that were like 1 of 10, 1 of 15. It was like bronze, silver, and gold. It was like there was one that was 1 of 1, and inside the card was like a little piece of my jersey that I wore that year, and it was like
Right.
literally in the card itself. And the picture of Mr. Red, he was like running on the field. It was such a cool card, and I remember signing it, and I was like, I don't get one of these myself. What the heck? Like, come on.
Yeah.
But like someone found it, and that one at the time, this was like months ago, it was going for over $500 for
Yeah,
Mr. Red baseball
yeah,
card. Like
but those
it's cool.
those jersey cards, they call them jersey cards with the the
Okay,
athletes. So I figured they'd be jersey cards no matter who they are. They
probably. Yeah.
significantly raise the price. I mean,
It's a
um
cool concept.
it is. But I thought that was really cool, just to add one more thing to your resume. At 33 years old, I've got my own baseball card. I thought that was pretty cool. But
My face isn't on it, but it is what it is.
well, you're not your face, so to speak, but that's you in the
But it is.
costume there.
It's cool. Yeah, it's cool.
But just tell us, you told me, but just tell us how you got in. Mr. Red wasn't your first mascot. Tell us how you kind of got into the mascot gig and where you started and, what was appealing to it for you.
Yeah. So in my high school, I went to high school down in Charlotte, North Carolina, and the high school when I became a freshman, that high school has been there for like decade, like long before I was there, like way before I was even born. And but they never had a mascot suit throughout their entire existence of being a school. So when I was a freshman, I didn't set up a meeting. I just went into the principal's office, and I was like, dude, you need to get a mascot suit for the school. What the hell are you doing? Like, how do we not have a mascot suit? And it was like the quickest, talking into. He was like, you know what? Yeah, you're right. We need a mascot suit. And then, so I left, and I was like, all right, cool. I don't know, month, 2 months, I don't know how long later, but all of a sudden I'm sitting in class, and then I hear on the announcements or like on the intercom, like right in the middle of class, it was like, Clint, come to the office. I was like, ah, shit. Like, what did I do now?
What I
Because
did this
I was in the dean's office. I was in the dean's office like too many times. So I'm like, God damn it. And then I go in there, I'm thinking I'm in trouble for something. And then I go into the principal's office, not the dean's office, and he has a big box. And he's like, dude, the suit's here. It's all yours. Go, do your thing. So I was like, wait, I get to be like, it's just me. I get to do and whatever I want with this mascot suit. He's like, yeah, all the football games, basketball games, like go for it. I was like, hell yeah. So I was the high school mascot for 4 years. And then I went to school down in Tampa Bay, Florida. I only went there for a semester. I kind of looked at my degree, and I was like, I don't think I need to spend all this money for 4 years just to graduate and get a job. I could get a job without this degree. So I was like, I'm not going to school. But once your name is in the mascot world, I think it just kind of lingers there forever because it was the weirdest thing in the world. All of a sudden, I'm 11 years later, I find myself with Mr. Ed in the backseat of my car. I'm like, no freaking way this is happening. And it's weird. I grew up right across the street from the Carolina Panthers mascot, and he was the mascot in like for his high school, and then the Charlotte Checkers, he was that mascot. The Charlotte Knights, he was that mascot. So he was like a mascot his whole life, and he didn't like. I didn't collaborate with him to become any mascot professionally. But it's just, I don't know. Maybe it's just contagious when you're around people. I don't know. But
Well, and
yeah, it was cool.
and the one thing we talked about the other day is, from an outside world, from me watching, life looks glamorous. Like, oh man, that's got to be the coolest job in the world, man. Look at Mr. Red, or look at Mr. Redlegs, look at Rosie. That's got to be the funnest job in the world. That's cool.
Yeah.
They entertain 20-some thousand every night, 30,000, whatever, 5,000 when they're really bad. But it's like, that's got to be the coolest job, But after talking to you, I realized that there are some not so glamorous parts about it. Just tell us a little bit about what the job entailed. Like when you were Mr. Red, I think a lot of people think you just show up at games.
Yeah. Oh yeah. It's not all sunshine and rainbows as everyone's wants to think. Like, don't get me wrong. It's the coolest. It's one of the coolest jobs you could ever have. Like hands down, especially like opening day. The first opening day I had was so freaking cool. Like, and I had no, like, there was no SOP, no like, all right, here's what to do. So opening day, they plot me out. We get to the ballpark at like 5:30 in the morning for all of the local news stations. They set up like in the concourse, like early, like before the sun even goes up. And then we do interviews in the morning. And then after those interviews, they drop us off at Findlay Market for the parade. And it's essentially just like find a float, just make your way down to the ballpark somehow, find a float to stand on, and then, just ride. But we're up at Findlay Market for probably 45 minutes to an hour before the parade even starts. So I'm like, what? I don't know what the hell I'm doing. Like, I don't know, like, what are there floats that I'm not supposed to be on? Like, cause there are like, company floats. I'm like, is that a sponsored company? Should I even be on this float? I have no freaking clue. But especially the first year, it was so freaking cool. Like being on the opening day parade. And just seeing all the thousands of people just screaming. And I never realized how tired you could get by literally just waving. My fourth year, last year, it was a lot like I didn't, I guess I grew arm muscles or something. I was able to wave more. But I remember my first year, I was like, I literally couldn't even raise my hand up, like as we got to like Fountain Square, because my hand was so tired just from waving. I was like, oh my God. And then we have this whole game going on. And then, so we get back to Great American Ballpark. And then, sure enough, like 90 minutes before first pitch, they send us out in the outfield. And I remember going out into the outfield, my first game of opening day. I mean, we've got 44,000 people. You look around, you're like, holy shit, this is freaking sweet. Like, I'm literally on the field, and there are players here. Like this is nuts. And I remember being on the outfield of like, I don't know what the hell I'm supposed to do. Like, are there places I'm not supposed to be? Are there players that I'm not supposed to go around to? No idea. So I'm just like kind of winging it the whole freaking time. Like, but at the same time, I'm like, holy shit, this is awesome. The more crowded it is, like if it's a sellout crowd, it's freaking sweet. Like you feel the energy. You don't even get tired, especially like right before first pitch when the players are running out and they play like a pump up song. I would always start at like third base and then make my way down the like warning track behind home plate, and just seeing all the people and hearing the noise and seeing the players and the music. Like adrenaline is nuts. Like that is one crazy drug, because you could be so dead ass tired, and then all of a sudden, like in those key moments, you could do whatever the hell you want. You have all the energy, but then as soon as you get back inside, you're like, holy shit, I'm dead.
Yeah, that's I was
And
gonna say
also the game.
adrenaline. I was gonna say the bigger the crowd, obviously, probably helps your energy goes. I think that
It
I was gonna
works.
mention
And
that.
like
Yeah,
same with the players, man. Like if it's a close game, bottom of the ninth or whatever, if it's a big moment, even the sixth inning, and if the crowd gets like really involved in the game, yeah, I'm telling you, it does work. Like they say the 12th man and stuff, like it freaking works, man. It helps. It really
yeah.
helps. So if the crowd gets loud, and they support the team enough, like the crowd really can make a difference in a game with the players.
So,
It really can.
how long would you have to stay after a game?
After the game, it wasn't too much. We would do a lot of off-field appearances before the games. So we would go to like either schools or old people homes, children's hospital, libraries, like you name it. Like we were everywhere in the city. So like the 10-game stretches were the hardest. It's like there were times where you have a 10-game stretch and like let's say the first game of that 10-game stretch starts at 4:10, 6:10, whatever. I've already been to 2 gigs throughout that day. Like my day would start at like 9 in the morning, and then I would have another gig somewhere in the city at like 1 in the afternoon, and then I would go back to the ballpark, do the game, and then wake up the next day, kind of do the same thing. And so after that 10th day, you were like so ready for the stretch to be over and for the team to go out, because I would be walking up my driveway like an 80-year-old man, like, oh my God, I am dead, you know. But yeah, it was a cool gig. It was the coolest gig. Last year was my last year, and I'm excited. I miss it. I don't miss it. There are things I definitely don't miss about it, but I definitely do miss it. It's because you're lucky when you look at it. When you look at all of the professional sports teams in America, you've got 30 NFL teams, 30 NBA teams, 30 MLB teams, and NHL. You're looking at maybe 200 professional mascots. Some teams don't even have, like the Yankees don't even have a mascot. The New York
Right.
Giants don't have a mascot. So when you look at the number of, there are 8 billion people on this planet, and only, let's say 200 people get to do that. That's when you really think like, holy shit, like this is nuts.
Really,
like
yeah.
how many people can say that I was standing next to Joey Votto and all these great players, and even the old timers that would just like come to games. You're like, holy shit, George Foster, and like all these guys. You're like, what? Pete Rose, and God bless Pete Rose, but like you're standing right next to these guys. You're like, holy shit, like it's nuts.
Yeah, and it's kind of surreal, and
It is.
When I
you
was
don't get used to it.
No, I don't think you could. But when I was talking to you Thursday, and I think we discussed this, but I don't really remember how many Mr. Reds were there.
It was just me. So we all had our own characters. Like Gapper, he was his own guy. He's been doing it for like this is his 10th year actually. I think this is his 10th year. Yeah. Redlegs is his own character. So we all have our own characters, and then we have a backup. She was awesome. She would fill in for pretty much any of us. She's a flight attendant, coolest person in the world. But we didn't. It's frustratingly hard to find backups. You would think it'd be easy, but you can't just like throw anyone in the suit and hope they're, because if you throw anyone in a suit, they're going to look like a human being. And the biggest thing about being a mascot is that you have to get everyone to believe that this is a walking humanoid baseball. Like there's not a human being inside that suit. That is an act. Like Mr. Red is a real thing. And that was definitely the most gratifying part about being a mascot, especially with the kids, but most especially like when you see like that 40-year-old parent with their kid and you see it in their face, they're just like, in that moment, like everyone knows it's a human, but in that moment when you're interacting with people, like you see it. Like I bet like it's probably the same thing as a magician. Like if you're pulling off a trick and you see in their like, holy shit, how the hell did he do that? Like they think it's magic. Like you can see it in people's faces. Like that's Mr. Red. That's not a human. Like that is Mr. Red. And that's the whole, that's the biggest part about being a mascot. You have to get people to believe.
Yeah. I don't think a lot of people understood like the off the field gigs and stuff. I know like we see on the news, well, Mr. Red showed up at Cincinnati Hospital today, or but I don't think it ever really registers that those
how many off-field appearances you actually do. It's wild. And
that
sometimes like Some off-field appearances were awesome. Like you would go to weddings. Like weddings were always a blast because everyone's in a good mood. There's music and you're taking pictures with people. Everyone, people are getting you drinks and stuff. Like, not that you're drinking as, you
Right.
can't, it's physically impossible, but I remember one gig, it was out in Indiana, and I think it was a graduation party or something. And I was just talking to somebody at the bar last night. They were like, this guy was like, dude, there's no way I'd be able to perform in front of all those people. And I was like, weirdly enough, like the more people that you're performing for, the easier it is. When it comes down to like 30 or 40 people in an intimate setting, that's when it's actually really hard because like all eyes are on you. It's a lot more intimate. And there was this one gig I drove like an hour and a half away to. I have no idea what I'm stepping foot into. I just know graduation party, or I think it was, I don't know what it was, but I think it was that. I show up, I get dressed, and the woman that booked it, as soon as I get dressed and like walk into this room, she's like, all right, man, do your thing. And I walk up and it's just like a bunch of seats and there's like 30 people there and they're just staring at me. There's no music. There's no event going on. It's just a bunch of people looking at me and I'm booked for an hour. And I'm like, do what? Like, what do you do? What do you think I'm going to do? Like, I'm not
magic tricks. Are you dancing?
I can't speak, like, and there's no music going on and I'm not going to sit here and dance for an hour for you. Like, that's weird. Like, what on earth do you expect me to do right now? It was really, so I had to I was like getting a bunch of kids and trying to do like Simon Says or whatever. It was like just trying to be quick on my feet. I'm like, I know I'm a performer, but I'm not a main attraction. And if I am, like, it was, so sometimes it was really, you have to be like really on your feet.
Well, and you just mentioned that you said something that made me think about my cousin who is a big time Reds fan. And he mentioned this the other day in a text message, but he said it to me before, when you're at the stadium and they tell you to scream really loud and they'll say, scream louder, Mr. Red can't hear you. And he's like, yeah, he doesn't have ears. No one, I know he can't. When you said I can't talk, I can't drink, Well,
you could have a bullhorn and he's still not going to hear you.
He ain't got ears.
Yeah. But I definitely heard though.
Yeah. And how close were you allowed to be to the players? Any interactions with those guys or like?
Yeah. There were the whole gig, at least for me, I can't speak for others, but for me in particular, it's like when I've been a Reds and a Bengals fan my entire life, and I didn't even grow up in Cincinnati.
Right.
So when I took the gig, I was 100% more of a fan inside the suit instead of like, this is my job, this is my career. Like I already had, if you want to call it a career before going into Mr. Red, that I pretty much tossed to the curb. I'm like, F this. I have a chance to be Mr. Red. I'm taking it.
Right.
It's a huge pay cut to do it. No more benefits, no nothing. So I was always a fan first and employee second. So the whole gig was more ask for forgiveness, not for permission. What I quickly found out, because anytime I would ask, like the first maybe couple of weeks of the gig, I was like, so can I do this? And they're like, no, don't do that. Can I go over here? No, just stay over there, So then I was like, all right, so I can't do anything. But then you kind of learn like mascots can do whatever the hell they want. Who's going to tell you no, So I would, Jake Fraley, I remember slapping his ass once and he just went along with it. I was like, let's go. I just slapped Jake Fraley's ass and he was cool with it. I was like, let's freaking go.
I just
Ellie De La Cruz, there were some players where I remember Ellie, they were like, don't go close to Ellie. Don't interact with Ellie. He's our guy. He's too valuable. Don't do anything stupid around Ellie. Don't even go around Ellie. I was like, okay, I'm not going to go around Ellie just in case he trips over my foot or something. It's just I'm responsible for the whole city getting pissed off that Ellie's going to be out for 6 months,
That probably wouldn't be good. That'd be a good way to turn the city against Mr. Red real quick.
Yeah.
He might be the most liked Red in the city. Mr. Red may be.
When you think about it, I mean, he's one of the oldest mascots. technically he is the oldest mascot when it comes to like mascots. Mr. Redleg's character is older, like on paper, like they drew cartoons of Mr. Redlegs, but Mr. Red is the original mascot. He's been around for decades, and the original suit, holy shit, that it's still in, if you want to call it, our locker room. It was more like a stairwell where we got dressed. That the original head is like sitting on the shelf. I'm like, no fucking way. That's the original Mr. Red. And I put it on. The thing is bulletproof. Like that thing is made of metal, and you can't see jack shit in that suit. I'm like, nope. Like someone, and it's creepy. You look at, you like pull up a picture of the original Mr. Red. It's freaking. It's scary. If I was a little kid looking up into that, I'd be like, holy shit! Like fuck mascots. This is creepy.
Well, you
but kids grow up, like players come and go, you know, but mascots, you see Mr. Red at 2 years old and you're going to see him when you're 80 years old, you know? So mascots are a way to get people to really fall in love with the team because they're always going to be there. You're always going to have a relationship with Mr. Red. You know, you're not always going to have a relationship with Ellie. He's going to go at some point. Whether he spends his whole career here or not, he's going to go.
He's not going to be a Red his entire life. Yeah, but the mascot will be. That's a very good point.
Yeah.
But also, too, you know, if you think about it, you mentioned, you know, if a kid were to see that original mascot, you know, it'd be scary. There's a lot of kids feel that way now when you take them to see the Easter Bunny or Santa Claus or whatever. They're scared to death of, because some of those costumes look scary.
They're creepy. Yeah, they're creepy. And it does, honestly, it depends on who's in the suit too. You know, like, can they bring that to life? You know, I love Mr. Red so much. He's my favorite character because he's cute and cuddly, but he's also like athletic. You know, like you can, when you see Mr. Red, I like to think people are like, oh, it's Mr. Red, you know?
Yeah. And,
they weren't saying that. Kids weren't saying that with the original mascot. That's for sure.
Like, oh, let's run. There's Mr. Red.
Yeah.
One thing you said on Thursday that I felt was interesting was because one of the really neat things I think at the stadium is, you know, in between innings or, you know, seventh inning stretch or whatever, they do a lot of competitions between the mascots. And one of the ones I was watching recently online, of course, I got the Reds.tv channel so I can watch the games, but they were having a blindfolded mascot race. And you were telling me about, you know, the one thing that I thought was interesting about that, how, you know, those aren't set up. You know, you're all competitive.
Like they are, but they're not. Yeah, the blindfold. I think the blindfold race was one of my funnest ones that we did when, like, because sometimes, every Sunday in the middle of the fifth inning, we have the race from the first base all the way to the third base, and sometimes we would just have a regular race, and it was never everyone thinks like it's predetermined, like, oh, who do I put my money on with my buddies? Like, I don't know. Hopefully me, I'm gonna win. But like there were other times where we were like, all right, let's switch it up. Let's do blindfolds. And of course, like the blindfolds are on the mascot's eyeballs, but we see out of our faces. So we could actually see. Right. But, you know, so we're like, we're not actually blind. But like, so there were times where it's just like, all right, we're going to have Gapper, you're going to trip and fall over here. Mr. Red, you run into a wall over here. But there, not one time were we ever like, all right, but Mr. Redlegs, you're going to win the race, or Mr. Red, you're going to win the race. Like all of us at the end of the day, like that was in a sense, like our each an individual way to like put our mascot to fame or like get eyeballs on our character. So all of us at the end of the day, like wanted to win the race.
And that's what I think's cool because I've been in that position where I'm sitting there with my buddies. I'm like, all right, you want to bet on who wins this race? And, you know, as bad as this, I would never bet on, you know, Rosie to win, but you told me like she's been here 17 years, you know, like she's done this mascot gig a long time. She's got the experience factor.
Yep. And she has the most mobile suit too. Like she's in tights. The dress is nice. The head isn't as big, and her shoes are a lot more like mobile. So she always had the most like mobility. So she should win every race. I don't know if she'd won a race though throughout my tenure with Hines.
Well, if
make sure that didn't happen. If
it's not set up and it's competitive, I wouldn't have let her win either. That's just the way I am. But you know, one of the things I remember when I reached out to you, you're like, "Yeah, man, I'd love to. I don't have to have a filter no more. So just tell me one story that you know, maybe something you had happen, or maybe something that just you didn't expect it to be like that. That was, or just something that just kind of caught you off guard as a mascot for the Cincinnati Reds."
Jim Day. Jim freaking Day. I don't know if I told you this on Thursday. Jim Day. That dude, I never heard of Jim Day until I moved here to Cincinnati. And I remember watching him on TV, and you see these radio personalities. Tommy Thrall, holy crap, coolest guy in the world. That dude is the best. Freaking love that guy. Hung out with that dude a lot. Tommy Thrall is the man. Jim Day, you see him on TV, and I remember saying, like, man, what a cool guy. Like, that guy just seems so down to earth, like a man of the people. You know, I feel like if I saw him out in public, like him and I could have a beer and it would be like the greatest time in the world. He just puts on that persona. And there was one, it was my first year. Jim Day, he's always on the warning track, like in between the Reds dugout and home plate. And that's when he does his like pregame show. And there were these two little kids sitting in the front seat or front row of the diamond seats, like right in front of Jim Day. And I'm like walking, he's doing his thing. And I see that these kids are like, "Hey, Mr. Red." So I'm waving to them as I'm like walking behind Jim Day to go to these kids. So I'm like in Jim Day's shot. I do my thing with the kids. I say hi, take a picture with them, whatever. I don't even remember what I did. Probably did an autograph or whatever. And then Jim Day's, I turn around, I walk back to where I was, like by the Reds dugout. Jim Day turns around. He literally grabs me on my wrist, and he squeezes so freaking tight. And he pulls me, and like he knows where my face is. He's looking at me in my face. Like, this is in front of everybody, right? And he's just like, "You get the fuck out of my shot when I'm talking. I'm talking about a sick cancer patient, and I can't have you behind me waving and being all goofy. Like, you got to get the fuck." He's like literally throwing F-bombs at me, and he's got me like by the wrist. And I'm like, no freaking way this is happening right now. And I was just like, who the fuck are you? And I like kind of like brushed. I literally just like kind of took him off, and I just walked away. And then the very next game. So after that, I went back, like after pregame, I went into the locker room. I was like, holy so Jim Day's like a total piece of crap. And they were like, "Yeah, Jim Day sucks. He hates mascots." It's like, no freaking way. Like, so then the very next game, you know, just me being who I am, like, of course I couldn't ask permission to do this, but the very next game, I see him, and he's about to get ready for his press conference, whatever, you know, the pregame show. And I go up to him and I give him like a handshake of like, I walk up to him to give him a handshake, and he goes to give the handshake, and I do one of these like cool guy things and like walk off. And then sure enough, that very next day after I did that, I go like before every game, a lot of the Reds employees, like everybody in media and like people that work for the Reds, there's like a little cafeteria upstairs. So before first pitch, everybody would go and like eat upstairs. It wasn't like a family gathering where everyone would eat together. You know, people would eat in their own groups. You know, the media people would sit by themselves. The interns would be over here. And I remember, you know, I worked with a lot of the, you know, the camera guys. And I remember going up to the cafeteria, if you want to call it that, and some of these camera crew guys and the people in the production teams, they're like, "You're the fucking man, dude. We fucking hate this. Like, I am so glad you did that." Like, everyone hates Jim Day. He is the biggest turd. Like, he treats everybody like an absolute piece of crap. Like, it's so unfortunate. That dude sucks. I don't like you, Jim Day. I don't like you. You suck, and you know it. You know you suck. That was super unfortunate. Whatever,
yeah,
like, you know,
I think that will surprise a lot of people, because
I think so. It surprised me.
We only see what the TV wants us to see, and you see the fun, you know, especially his interactions with Suarez and a lot of the players.
He looks like such a great freaking dude. As soon as the camera rolls off, you're like light and day, absolutely light and day. And of course, he's gonna, you know, I don't know, he's not gonna see this. Maybe he will. Who knows?
I mean,
But like,
if you want
of course
me
he's
to
going to
clip that
disregard
into,
it.
if you want me to clip it into a short and tag him, I could, but
Let's go. But there was
that may get us both some publicity.
right,
But
and of course, like you're not going to hear that. Like nobody's going to, no one's going to talk shit about Jim Day while they're, with the organization.
For some reason, though, I feel like I've heard that before, though. I don't know if it was a previous player. I don't know. But I feel like I've heard before that Jim Day's not the same person we see on TV.
No, I think some of the players definitely know it.
Yeah,
if you go on YouTube and you Google, this was a long a clip pretty long ago. He was standing in the dugout once during a game, and Brandon Phillips. You go on YouTube and search like Jim Day gets like Brandon Phillips embarrasses Jim Day or whatever in the dugout. You'll find it. Jim Day is doing his thing. Brandon Phillips comes behind him. He makes it look like he's doing something really inappropriate behind him, and then Brandon Phillips just like slaps Jim Day's ass as he's speaking to the camera, and you can see Jim Day's face. He's just like, he was so mad in that moment, like no freaking way that just freaking happened. Like you could see that. Like I think that's when he was just like, I don't know, maybe he turned off or something. But Brandon Phillips, I think Brandon Phillips knew.
Well, I mean, I'd say, like you said, there's probably a lot of players that have that same mindset probably, but don't say anything just because Jim Day probably does have a little bit of clout.
He's got a lot of pull, and I don't like whenever, he does a good job on TV. Like he does, he connects, he does a good job, but I'm just,
awesome,
yeah.
I love that. I could listen to stories like that. But speaking of stories, let me remove that. I want this right here. So already add to your already impressive resume, author. We talked about it Thursday. I think it's going to be out soon. Has it already been like
so
production?
Yeah, so I wrote a book. I figured my mom was, even before I was the mascot for the Reds, my mom was like, dude, you need to write a book of everything you've done. Like the way I moved to Cincinnati and stuff. I like to say, I don't know, maybe I think I have a pretty interesting life so far. So I wrote a book and I named it Stepping Foot Inside Every Irish Pub in America. I've got my first printer's proof in my hands. There are some things about it that need to be changed. Like the cover is a little wonky. There's some things in the inside, minor details that need to be swapped out. So I'm waiting for my second printer's proof to come into the mail. And then if that's all like pipto bapto, then the book will be dropped to the world basically right there and then, which is super exciting. But yeah, I wrote a book about pretty much my life and my Irish pub experiences. So I put in the first 100 Irish pubs that I've been to so far. All of those are in there. But in between all of the Irish pub articles and visits that I've been to, I throw in like life stories, and they kind of go along. The life stories complement the Irish pub stories, and the Irish pub stories complement the life stories. Like when I moved to Cincinnati, like a week after I moved to Cincinnati, I got jumped. I didn't know any better. I was living on East McMicken Avenue, and I was walking home from the yard house, and I get jumped by 4 people, woke up in the hospital, broken ribs, broken jaw. Had to sleep on it. It sucked. So in the book, I talk about that, and I was like, oh, by the way, 2 blocks away from where I got jumped is this Irish pub. O'Malley's in the alley, and it's freaking awesome. So like I kind of tie them in together. So yeah, that's I got a book coming out. I'm super, super pumped about it. So I talk about how I became the mascot for the Reds, a couple of Red stories, how I moved to Cincinnati, and some other stuff. It's exciting.
And I read on the site that it's almost like a leap of faith. Like you left, I guess, was it Charlotte? You left with like $800 in your pocket, boarded the train, and said, "Let's go."
Yeah. So my family is originally from the Bronx. but we grew up Mets fans. I'm not really sure why. Normally people from the Bronx are Yankees fans, but we're all Mets fans. Maybe my parents hated their neighbors growing up who are Yankees fans, and they were like, fuck the Yankees, we're going to go for the Mets. I don't know. But when I was a kid, my dad took me on a baseball tour. We went to like Wrigley Field, Cleveland, and then one of the stops was Cincinnati. And the Mets were playing the Cincinnati Reds in Riverfront Stadium. So my dad took me to Cincinnati really to watch the Mets play the Reds. And I walked out of the stadium and I remember seeing like the river and the bridges and the skyline and looking up at Mount Adams. And I was like, holy shit, like this city is freaking cool. Like this is the coolest city I've ever stepped foot inside. And I grew up just loving Cincinnati and always knowing I'm going to move to Cincinnati one day. Been a Bengals fan my whole life, was a Reds fan. Every day growing up, like in high school, I would bug my buddies like, dude, I'm going to Cincinnati. I'm going to Cincinnati. I can't wait to get out of here. I'm going to Cincinnati. After high school, I went down to Tampa, moved up to Chicago, moved back down to Charlotte. And then in 2016, I was like, all right, nothing's holding me back. What the hell am I waiting for? Let's go to Cincinnati. So hopped on an Amtrak train with a bag of clothes, about $800 in my pocket, hopped off at Union Station at like 2:00 in the morning. Cold as shit. It was on Valentine's Day, and there was snow all over the ground. I walked straight to Taste of Belgium on Vine Street, open up my laptop and start looking for like jobs and places. I didn't have any jobs lined up, no living situations lined up. I didn't like know anybody here. I essentially made myself homeless here in Cincinnati, and got the gig at the Yard House that day, and then I got the apartment over at East McMicken Avenue like the day after that. And it was dirt cheap, but it was dirt cheap for a reason. I didn't know any better.
Nobody else wanted to live there.
That's why. So quickly after I got healed up after being jumped, I moved across the river into Newport, Kentucky, to where I could still walk like into downtown and stuff. I didn't have a car for a while. But yeah, that's how I moved to Cincinnati. And then all of a sudden, like 5 years later, I find myself being Mr. Red.
And that's
crazy.
That's what makes it even cooler to me is that, living in Charlotte growing up, that you were a Reds and Bengals fan and you got to be the mascot for a team that you cheered for,
I got to represent the city for 4 years as the mascot for the team. Like it was such a cool thing.
Yeah.
And like, I'm so fortunate and lucky because like how many people can say that happened, like,
well, like you said, only 200,
yeah.
But
and a lot of these guys, a lot of mascots, like they kind of fall into it. Like not many people live their lives. Like, not that I lived my entire waking day of my life. Like I want to be a mascot, like maybe when I was in high school, but like a lot of mascots kind of fall into it. Like they'll go to theater school and then they'll like do small Broadway stuff. And then, this is performance. It's like kind of a theatrical gig in a way. You are putting on a show. So you get a lot of like theater people and actors, if you want to call it that. Just, all right, yeah, I'll do that. I'm performing in front of thousands of people versus if I'm performing for like this small Broadway company in Tampa Bay, maybe 50 people will go to the show. I don't know, this way, you can put that in. So not a lot of people even try to do it. They just kind of fall into it. Not everybody, of course.
That's the reason why I remember asking you on Thursday, like you never see anywhere. Of course, I don't look through a lot of the want ads or Craigslist or anything like that, but you don't see on Facebook or any kind of social media like Reds are auditioning for Mr. Red or Mr. Red Legs or whatever. It's like how do you even get into the mascot gig? And then if you explained it to me, it's kind of like, I guess it's like that way in a lot of professions. I'm a teacher, and once you become a teacher, there are global networks out there that you get emails about all the different schools open for jobs and, that are, but so, I understood it after you explained it, but I'm like, no way, that's cool. Like, but it almost appeared to me that like it would, and they say you never work a day in your life as long as you love your job, and that's what kept going through my mind. Like, if I could ever be a mascot, I don't know if it'd feel like work to me. But then when you mentioned, getting there at 5:30, 13, 14-hour days on your feet and a cot, no, never mind. I don't think I want to do that anymore.
Yeah, essentially for me, it came down to, like after 4 years, like I'm in my 30s. I'm married. We have a mortgage. We would like to have a family soon. I don't need health insurance, but my wife wants health insurance. So if you want to be an adult, like I had to look at Mr. Ed as a job, which is what it was.
Right.
And like, as you can imagine, so most people surprisingly think that the gig pays so much. Like everyone thought I was making so much money. I never had the heart to be like, I never wanted to talk bad about the gig when I was Mr. Red, because it would always like bring the conversation down, because people, like, if it ever came up in conversation, if I'm at the bar and then like just kind of, I never really like touted it or like brought it up. But sometimes people, like, the perfect conversation would be going, and I'm like, all right, if I drop this bomb right here in front of this guy, this is going to make his day. So then, sometimes people will find out I'm Mr. Red, and then people are like, no way, you're Mr. Red. I'm like, yeah. And they're like, that's so freaking cool. I'm like, I know. But so like, I can't just like go to that and then be like, yeah, but this sucks and that sucks. Like, I could never complain about it because it would just bring the conversation to a low. It's just like, I couldn't do that to the person.
Well, and I think a lot of people have in their mind that, like, if you're working for a major league, franchise that are worth billions of dollars, or if you're on TV all the time and doing things like that, I think
it's easy to think you're getting paid a lot.
Yes. But it seems like the less glamorous your jobs are, the least you get paid, like.
Yeah, it's at the end of the day,
you may work the hardest, but you get paid the least. I constantly, in the education world, I constantly think about the cafeteria ladies. I constantly think about the custodians. Those people work harder than anybody. But if you compare their salaries to some of the people who are higher up that do less physical work.
Nothing, almost. Yeah.
Well, I'm not going to say that. I still have bosses. But yeah, it's like, every school I've ever worked in's got custodians that just work their butts off every day.
Hustling. Yeah.
And knowing that they barely get $20 an hour, you're like, But
and call me crazy, but I'm looking at, especially the bullpen pitchers, like I'm looking at these guys. I'm burning so many more calories than this freaking guy, and this dude is getting
well, just think about starting
1,000% more than I am. Yeah.
Or starting pitchers only pitch from one every 5 days. They pitch one day. And now I know they probably do bullpen sessions, or they do long tosses, or they do, rehabs or whatever, but
even screw it, like the freaking third baseman, like that dude is not burning as many calories and hustling as much as I am and sweating as much as I am.
I bet he's not sweating as much as you in that costume either.
Right.
But it's like, I get it.
But there's just not enough money. There's no benefits. There's really not a lot that comes involved with it. So it was a matter of time of like, do I want to be an actual adult? And like, there are other things I want to do in life. So I'm happy that this is just like a chapter, something cool that I did in life, but now I'm on to, in my opinion, funner things. Like this summer, I'm literally dedicating this summer to competing in professional dart tournaments, traveling to more Irish pubs, and promoting my book, like going into bookstores and Irish pubs and selling my book. So like that to me is so exciting and fun. Like let's freaking go. Like, yeah.
When you told me about riding your bike and dropping off free newspapers in every waiting room, whatever, there ain't no doubt in my mind you're a grinder. You're a hustler. You're ready to go.
I try.
But
we'll see. There's that song, She Works Hard for the Money. And I always make fun of myself. I always switch up the words and I say, I work hard for no money. So it's always how it feels.
There was something I was looking for specifically, and I can't remember what it was now. Hold on here a minute.
Yeah, the Reds, they're starting off really good. What a sweep.
6-3 and can't beat the Pirates yet, but man.
Hey, that's okay.
Yeah, just have the best record. I don't even care if you win the division. Have the best record, and you'll win the division.
Exactly.
I think if the Yankees lost today, which they were losing, they have the second best record in baseball, I think. Reds do.
Yeah. I haven't really paid attention to any other teams. It's really just the Reds.
Well, that's
Kind of
all.
the Mets. Mets have kind of laid an egg so far, but whatever.
Well, we were talking about the Mets the other day. Me and my cousin was, and there's fans already at them. But
Yeah.
all right, before we move on here a little bit, we've got about 50 people or so on here watching live. If you don't already follow, please like and subscribe to the channel. That just helps me out, helps me reach more people. So when you either do it now, if you're watching on your TV, you can do it through your phone. If you're watching on your phone, you can do it later. But please like and subscribe. I think I'm up to about 235 subscribers now, which is about an 85% increase over the last month or so. So those of you that have subscribed, I do appreciate it. But if you go to the drunkenmallard.com and you go up to the top here and you go buy my book, you get a little bit of a, I don't want to say a synopsis, but
A little bit of a synopsis. Yeah.
yeah.
Kinda.
But, I really like this quote he says here. He says, life's journey is not to arrive to the grave safely in a well-preserved body, but rather skid in sideways, totally worn out, shouting, holy shit, what a ride. And I'm going to try to keep that in the back of my mind, because as I told you before we started here, I think I'm more leaning on the arriving to the grave safely in a well-preserved body due to my lack of doing anything. But down at the bottom, it gives you the opportunity to pre-order the book. I strongly encourage you to do that. I promise you, from what I've read of Clint's work, you'll be entertained. Very, very well spoken through written language.
Thanks, man.
No, I've read a lot of your website, and I've even watched a lot of your videos on YouTube. If you go to the Drunken Mallard on YouTube, he has a lot of his reviews of his pubs. I guess if I do know there are a lot of Irish pub enthusiasts around, so I'm sure that they would. I enjoy him, and I don't even know if I've ever tasted Guinness. I know what it is.
Best.
I know what
it's
it
the
is.
freaking best.
And it's a shame because my birthday's the day after St. Patrick's Day, and my name's Patrick, and I've got a lot of Irish in me, and I've never tasted Guinness. So I'm gonna have to come to the Drunken Mallard and give it a taste.
We got to work on that. Hell yeah, we do.
I can make it.
I like to you're definitely invited. But like I like to think the Irish pub articles that I write, like if you look at the previous 1, 2, 3, 4 that I've done, every single Thursday I come out with a new Irish pub that I've been to, and especially lately, and like I'll talk about the pub, but I more so talk about like the visit and like my experience. And the most previous one that I came out with this week, it was about this really awesome bartender that I met at an Irish pub in the Tampa airport.
Yeah.
And I just talk about like the stories that she was telling, and like it was just such a great freaking time. So like I kind of just tell a story instead of just telling you like tidbits about the pub. So like you don't even have to be an Irish pub enthusiast to kind of enjoy, I think, what I'm doing with this.
It just seems like, like I said, I can't say that I've knowingly been into an Irish pub like by choice. I'm not saying I haven't ended up in one, but I know there's one in Lexington. I think maybe Tilted Kilt. Is that considered an Irish pub?
Yep. Yeah, that's an Irish pub.
I have been there.
It's like the Irish version of Hooters.
Yeah, kind of. But
well, no.
But at the state, Lexington hosts our basketball state tournament every year, and a lot of the coaches go to that, more of a social. It's kind of like a small vacation after our season to kind of go down there.
They have a kids menu. It's not like it's not.
Yeah. And it's just the one thing I've read through your website, through a lot of your videos. It just seems like the atmosphere and the environment in these are just fun.
You got to find the crack.
Like good vibes. Yeah, you got to have the crack. Which I was going to ask you how to pronounce that.
CRAIC, yeah, not the other crack.
We can click.
That's an Irish term. If you Google crack, it's become a crack addict. There we go. So like I like to say I'm a crack addict because everywhere I go I'm seeking the crack. And what the crack is essentially is like you go into an Irish pub, could be any bar, but it's an Irish term. You go into a pub, you walk in, everybody at the bar is super inviting. They invite you in on the conversation at hand. The bartender's awesome. Like everything about the experience is just like so much fun and you're just having a great time. And it feels impossible to close out your tab. That's the crack. And like so you found a really good Irish pub when the crack is like full, alive, and healthy. And I hate social media like influencers. If I ever come across as an influencer to anybody, like you have permission to backslap me to the face. Because every time you see a social media influencer, everywhere they go, they're raving about it. Like, this place is awesome. You got to check out this place. This place is amazing. This place is amazing. But like, I'm sorry, not everybody can have the best chicken sandwich on the planet. Like, you have to have bad in order
Right.
to have good. If everybody is really good, then everything just turns mediocre and bland. Like, you have to have the bad eggs in order to have the good eggs,
And I read
So
that on your site today when you were talking about how, you know, when you give your reviews, how
I'm honest. Like,
you're going to
if
give
your
an
pub
honest
sucks,
review from, and
I'm gonna
right.
tell
And
my followers, hey, this pub kind of sucks. It's a waste of your time. It's dirty. It's gross. The bartender will ignore you. They pour a shitty Guinness. The bathrooms are awful. The music's like if you put up a bad pub, I'm gonna tell the world about it. Not that I'm out to make anyone look bad because I'm not. Every time I walk into a new Irish pub, I'm always hoping it's the best Irish pub visit that I've
absolutely.
ever been to.
Absolutely.
But if it's not good, I'm gonna be
Well,
honest.
and I think one thing you said was by you being honest, if that may help them raise their game. Hey, I've
Yeah,
got an
you
honest
never know.
review right here. Here's what I need to do to step my game up, or here's what I need to do to make my place better. But um, yeah, that was I'd read that and I didn't really know how to pronounce that, so I kept saying crake. I didn't want to say crack because I thought it was a play on words, I'm
Yeah,
like, but but if you
yeah.
go also for those of you that are out there that are Irish pubs enthusiasts, if you do go to his website, you can find, pretty well listed up here. You see all posts, pubs with darts, and you got highest rated pubs. And he's got a whole list here and a very easy, user friendly website to follow. If you're ever in any of these areas and you want to check one out, this latest one here on the Four Greens in Tampa is about the bartender named Fran that I just had a blast reading.
Thanks, man. Dude, you're the
Yeah,
man. Yeah.
yeah,
Uh,
Fran. When you hear the name like Fran, you just have in your mind that she's good. She's good.
how many friends do you meet? You gotta, yeah,
Right.
she's
But
gonna be good.
just this is in the thing I like about this is it just seems to be like a pretty good resource too. Like if you're going to visit a pub, you could probably come here and check it out. And got a search
Yeah,
engine up here.
that's the plan. Yeah, that's the goal. Like, hopefully, I can keep going to more cities and more cities. This summer, I'm going over. The wife and I are gonna drive to Boston, and we're actually gonna go to the closest Irish pub to Ireland here in America, which is in Bar Harbor, Maine, which makes sense. So we're literally going to drive all the way out to Bar Harbor, Maine, make a bunch of pit stops. We're going to stop in Buffalo, New York, Albany, go to Boston, and then drive up to Bar Harbor. The plan is to get to like maybe 50 Irish pubs throughout that week. That's
Nice.
the goal. So hopefully, as I keep going to more cities, like, yeah, like if you're going to go to Denver, Colorado on a business trip or whatever, you can go on my website and search like Irish pubs, Denver. And then on my site, if you want to take my word for what it is, like I'll tell you, like, these are the ones you have to go to. Like, take it from me. Don't take it from Google reviews.
Right.
Google reviews can be so like inflated or, fake. This is like raw material.
That's
Yeah.
awesome.
Thanks, man.
That's awesome. Yeah. And, but if you're listening, go bookmark this website, the Irish pub, the drunkenmallard.com. And, I do have family members that are big on Guinness and other, Irish. There are other Irish beers, correct? Or
they're Killian's, they're
yeah,
Smittix.
okay. Killian's is what I've heard.
Killian's is a
But
popular one. Yeah, you find that in the bottle. You'll find that in a lot of gas stations. Actually, it's a good. I don't want to. It's kind of like Yingling, maybe. It kind of goes down like Yingling. Different taste, but If you're Doobie, all right. So anyone here in Cincinnati, Maloney's Pub. It's like kind of on the west side. Search Maloney's Pub there and look at the Guinness that this dude poured me. It is hands down the worst Guinness I've ever been poured in my life. And if anyone ever pours me a worse Guinness than Maloney's Pub here in Cincinnati, my life is going to be amazing. Scroll down like 2 or 3 pictures and you'll see this Guinness. Look at that. I paid for that Guinness. I paid for that.
Well,
How do you even split the G on that? You can't.
I bet you paid about $6 for it.
Yeah.
And you gave
absolutely amazing.
Is that a 4.45 out of 10 for the entire pub or just the Guinness?
No, for the pub.
Okay.
It's don't get me wrong. Like, is it a good place to hang out and have a good time? Sure. You can totally have a good time at Maloney's Pub. Is it a great Irish pub, like in regards to like authenticity and shit and how they pour their Guinness? Like clearly, like, no, it's not. That is the, like, it's so bad. It's amazing. Not to make whoever runs Maloney's look bad right now, but it's just so bad. It's awesome.
Have you been back to see if that was just a one-time thing or?
Not yet. I probably will. I'll do a revisit at some point. I'll have to just, hopefully they pour it better and I'll, give them some kudos. There's no way they could pour a worse one than that. There's just no way.
All right. Well, Clint, thank you. I mean, I kept you a little bit longer than I wanted to just because I could talk to you forever, but I also got to color Easter eggs with my daughters tonight. That's one thing we do, but they've been with their mom and grandparents today, so I'm going to do that tonight.
Heck yeah, man.
Yeah, I love doing it. But, thank you for your time. I will continue to share your webpage and your book. I'm going to buy your book. I can't wait to read it. It's going to be an interesting read. And, but just your lifetime through 33 years is something that, I can't wait to read about. Just Mr. Red, just part of it, which of course I enjoy the most because I'm a Reds fan, but just all the other things included. And hopefully for too long, I can get down to visit the Drunken Mallard. I can't wait to see it.
Absolutely, man. Dude, you're the man. Yeah. Thanks for having me on your podcast. It was, I could talk to you all day. I think on Thursday
maybe we can do it again. Once the book comes out and everything, we'll do it again.
Heck yeah. Maybe we'll talk a little bit more about the Reds too.
Yeah, we can do that. Current state of the Reds.
Like the Reds, like yes, current sir. Reds. Yeah.
All right, man.
Cool,
appreciate
man.
You.
Thank you.
Yes, sir.
Absolutely.
See you guys. Hey, spend the next 3 minutes listening to this song here if you didn't get to see it at the beginning because it's great. You'll love it.
Weather today in the greater Cincinnati area.
A guy that has a drinking song for Cincinnati. His name is Clint.
Cincinnati skyline, Fountain Square and chilly. I'm packing up my jacket cause it's gonna be chilly. The genius of water, it's in Fountain Square. I'm packing up my bags cause I am there. Cincinnati, it's the place to be. Oh, Cincinnati, it's where I wanna be. Cincinnati, it's the place to be. Oh, Cincinnati, it's where I wanna be. Driving down the race with me, pumping by the river with the Bengals in for place. Now feeling like a winner, like my skyline hot and my grader's cold. Been drinking at O'Malley since 8 years old. Cincinnati Vegas, this can't be beat. When I'm in Nipper Stadium, stomping my feet. Greater Macon Ballpark is where I go. Get my baseball fix and my hoodoo pole. Playing blackjack with a 20 in my pocket. With a fill belly from the Finley Market. I go to River Bend for a kick-ass show. With my middle finger up to that black and gold. Cincinnati skyline, Fountain Square and chilly. I'm packing up my jacket cause it's gonna be chilly. The genius of water, it's in Fountain Square. I'm packing up my bags cause I am there. Cincinnati is the place to be. Oh, Cincinnati, it's where I wanna be. Cincinnati is the place to be. Oh, Cincinnati, it's where I wanna be. If you wanna have a good Oktoberfest, look no further, we're saving the best. Nothing gets me prouder than the Icky Shuffle or the taste of Belgium and the Belgian waffle. Paul Brown, Mike Brown, win a playoff game gives a real reason to scream. Hooray! Newport, Covington, Yateman's Cove. Derby Camp is still my favorite show. Opening day makes my hair stand up. Coverdale, Mad Tree in my cup. Travel the world, but I love this city. Never really seen one quite this pretty. Come to the end, all I got to say is put your bottoms up for hooray! Cincinnati skyline, Fountain Square and chilly. I'm packing up my jacket cause it's gonna be chilly. The genius of water, it's in Fountain Square. I'm packing up my bags cause I am there. Cincinnati skyline, Fountain